Okay, I wanted to do something clever, and I thought I'll give a video talk about my favourite film, and it's actually 25 years to the week since I saw In the Line of Fire, 2nd of September 1993. I keep a diary, which I remember all the important events. Clint Eastwood has always released, a bit like Woody Allen, a movie a year. He's a very versatile director. Obviously, people associate him with westerns. In the Land of Fire has traces of Dirty Harry about it, and I think that he gets right the romance, the romantic entanglements. There's a lot of talk about jazz, playing the piano, the sense of accomplishment and failure. He's a character who is a Secret Service agent who, due to some sexual misdemeanor involving, I'm pretty sure, President Kennedy's wife. Obviously, this is fictitious, but he was taken off duty as it happened on the day that President Kennedy was assassinated. So he's been carrying guilt for the last 30 years that if he'd been on form and on duty on that day, maybe he would have protected and saved President Kennedy. He may have lost his life in the process, but that would have been his duty. So he's been carrying this guilt, and then suddenly, from out of nowhere, appears John Malkovich, who seems to have studied Frank Oregon, Clint Eastwood's character. I think he's read an article that he's given, and he is now playing a game of cat and mouse with him, along the lines of, well, maybe now you have a chance at redemption. You can do successfully now what you didn't do 30 years earlier, which is to save a president. So, of course, Clint Eastwood's character takes the bait, and you can imagine that he wants to be put on the president's detail, and he's in his 60s at this point, and he's clearly too old for the job, but he's got a lot of connections, and reluctantly the powers that be let him run with the motorcade. And of course, you've got Clint Eastwood, very old, running with the president's car. He's out of breath. It goes against the image. There's also an undercurrent as well that the present president is, I think, in his words, a sack of shit. So you then have this layer that, you know, he'll take the bullet for somebody who, as a person, he doesn't much care for, but he's the president of the United States. Therefore, you have a responsibility, an obligation, if you're on Secret Service detail, to take a bullet. So the film takes you down a lot of alleyways. There's this sense, I think, of letting go of the past, or not being able to let go of the past, which I think makes the film very wistful. And he's also somebody who struggles perhaps in personal relationships. I think he probably doesn't want to get too close to people, and then there's a bit of a romantic interest with one of the other Secret Service agents, played by, what is her name? Renee Russo, who also appeared in another Wolfgang Peterson film, Outbreak, which may be coming up in a bit later in this series. Anyway, it's an outstanding thriller. Lots of talk about guilt, personal and national. There's romance. It's a tense thriller with an Academy Award nomination for John Malkovich, who plays the would-be assassin. I think one of Clint Eastwood's best films. Ironically, it's one that he didn't direct himself. But if you haven't checked it out, well, I strongly recommend it. So that's my choice for day 17.